um, but he's over there like pacing, and I'm like joking around with him. He's kind of like glancing at me and like, what the fuck's with this guy? He's trying to get into like a heavy space, and I didn't know it. I didn't see it. I didn't recognize it. And then I did, and I was like, oh shit, I screwed that up. So giving actors the room to get there and recognizing it. So if you're trying to shoot a scene, I don't care if the sun's going down and you're like, shit, we got 5 minutes to get this, we gotta go. You know what? People are going to forgive a little bit of light difference, but they're not going to forgive a phoned in performance. So give them the space to say, all right, I'm ready, let's go. Classic tale of Mel Gibson, controversial, whatever, but Mel Gibson with Lethal Weapon, when he's in his trailer and he's going to eat a bullet because his wife, and but he decides not to. Took him multiple days before he was ready to get there. And then he finally called up the director and was like, I'm ready, let's go now. And they go, okay, we got it, let's go. And they shot it. Sometimes that's where artists and performers need to be, where actors need to be. You need to give them that room. We are a technical bunch as far as cinematographers. But if somebody were to say, hey, who cares about the lighting? Let's just shoot it. We're going to get real salty. So think about it as far as like actors need to get their lighting inside right to set that mood and that scene, So that's my soapbox. Sorry.
No, in fact, if I were to take one thing out of what you said, it would be that MacLeod's difficult to work with and probably
totally
thinks his shit
worst.
Don't stink.
Yeah. No. He's amazing. He's amazing. Such a great dude. God, I hope I get to work with him again. But no, you got to give the actors room to get into the zone, because no matter what we do as cinematographers, it ain't going to mean shit if the actors don't have the freedom and that space to play. We could shoot the hell out of something, but if the actors deliver like wooden performances and just kind of phone it in, because we've rushed them, that's a shitty movie.
Yeah.
No one's going to notice. No one notices the cinematography on bad movies because you're like, this is a piece of shit.
Well, you know what? I'm going to mildly disagree. So there is a film that got this hubbub, that just got a lot of buzz around it. Hubbub, you know what? That's no different than cats. I'm fired. I'm going to cancel myself. Hubbub? Yeah. Who says hubbub?
Jesus. Okay, boomer.
Yeah. But it reminds me of a film that had all this buzz surrounding it. It's a film called Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1. I don't know if you heard any mumblings about that. It's a Japanese film.
Okay. I'm just going to say okay.
Okay. So the big thing about Crazy Samurai was they had an 82-minute one-take sword fight sequence.
Okay.
Now, when you watch it, the unfortunate part is that the cinematography is so bad, and I feel like just if there's anyone that worked on Crazy Samurai that's somehow found their ears to this podcast, listen to me when I say making a film is a miracle. I don't care if it's
oh my God, yes.
A short that you did with your friends, or so just the fact that we're even talking about an 82-minute one shot sword fight sequence, like just understand that, like, I have a disclaimer. Like, I would never shit on somebody. My whole thing is that I will shit on you for lack of preparation. Like that, I will shit on you for that. And when you're watching this sequence, like, in that 82 minutes, so many times I was just like, you got a group of your friends and went out to the park and played swords. Like, that's all this is. Like, the camera is telling no story whatsoever.
Right.
You know, and I think in to compare it to A Ghost Waits, you are doing something very Hitchcocky, and Dial M for Murder is a perfect way to put it. But we are seeing very little on screen in terms of action in A Ghost Waits, and the emotion is being sold, whereas I'm watching Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1, and I should be on the edge of my seat. This guy, 82 minutes, and it's not. It's falling flat on its face. So it's a mild disagreement, only because it took me out of the film. And this is something relatively recent where I was just
I forget what I even said. I was disagreeing about
that MacLeod's terrible. I think it was. That's what.
Yeah, no. I think it was about cinematography. Not matter. It doesn't matter if it's a bad story.
Yeah,
that's okay. I think that's what I was getting. Is that what I was getting at?
I think that is what you were getting at. Cinematography isn't going to matter if your actor's not in the moment, or even the sound guy. Even if maybe the sound guy needed water, and you said nope, we got to get this shot, and now your sound guy's failing. It can be something as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you guys. You and MacLeod were talking about theater a lot. And there's such a it's like the firefighters versus the cops, right? You're both in the same kind of line of duty sort of thing.
That's quite all right. That is quite all right.
That was a very loud truck, or somebody just drove by.
Oh, he had the 454 with the exhaust pipes, and just get the fuck out of here.
Is that a Hemi?
Yeah.
But no, it's the similar kind of it's a crossover sort of thing, but with I forgot what I was going to say.
So you know what? Because we're going long, and I get super self-conscious.
Can we get back into a Ghost Waits?
Yeah.
Or are you ready to wrap up?
You know what? I'm done. Have a good one. Have a good one. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Yep. I guess so. For me, we can in closing. So a couple things, and they can be really quick answers. I guess let's say Adam. You and Adam weren't super close. What was one of the things that attracted you most about this project? Or you can be just like, no, man, he's my friend. That was it. I didn't need to hear anymore outside of that. But when you were looking through the script, I'm sure it had to be similar to if I was reading the script, where I'm just page after page going, well, wait a minute. Now I'm laughing out loud. Now I'm kind of uneasy by Muriel. Now I'm mad at that giant C, Rosie, and and then obviously once you reach the ending, it's like someone just took a sledgehammer to your gut, when you what attracted you most about the piece? And it doesn't necessarily even need to be story driven. It can be, just the challenge of trying to shoot this film on a shoestring budget. Was there anything that stuck out in the forefront of your mind that you're just like, I knew once I read this scene, that was all she wrote. You didn't really need to tell me anymore.
I think the primary driver for me to be a part of it was that it was a film that didn't know what it was, but it did. It didn't fit in a category. It wasn't something that was you can put this in a box and say it's a horror, or it's a romance, or it's a this. It was all of it, and it's much more complicated and nuanced than we are usually given as an audience. And so I was very interested in how do you shoot this? And at the end of the day, we had some restrictions with, budget and time and whatever, but it was very much let's let's figure out what is the voice of this thing. And going back to what I said before, I kind of had to take a step back as a cinematographer of, oh man, look at these beautiful shots and like blah, blah, blah. What is going to serve the story best, and how do we make the characters front and foremost, So let's serve it. Let's serve the story. Let's make the story king.
I'm a big challenge guy myself. I guess to a fault, I like to bite off a little bit more than I can chew. But I'm sure once the budget came in for this, and you're kind of crunching the numbers, you're like, you know what? I mean, this is going to be interesting how we make this work. But I'm game to do it. I'm game to do it.
Yeah, I mean, interesting is a great word, because it was an interesting project, because I didn't know what this thing was gonna be. I read the script and I loved it, but I didn't get necessarily what the end product would be. And I don't think people that work in movies necessarily are like, oh, this is going to be this, and it turns out exactly that way, right? But when doing this thing, it was very much like I said before, I needed to let the moment inform me. So what is this scene? How does this play out? Oh, this is corporate, lockdown camera, corporate ghost telling, Muriel, you're not doing a good job, blah, 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 blah. You've got Jack ready to leave the house, and he's like, fuck this, I'm out. And he gets in his car and says, nope, you're not going to win, and gets back into the house. That needs to reflect how he's feeling. So we do handheld and very kind of frantic, but we follow him kind of thing.
I love that shot, because you follow him off the porch into the car. You go inside the car. He says, fuck it, basically. You go outside the car and then follow him back into the side door of the house. And I know, I think I shouldn't be used as an example, because, I think when you, at least you think that you work in film, maybe it's not really a reality. It's kind of an impossibility to not notice those things, because
sure.
With cinema, I tell a lot of my cinematographer friends, well, what they say is that you shouldn't be noticing the shot, otherwise that means the cinematographer didn't do their job, and they're very, you've heard that before.
Yeah.
But when I was watching that, I'm like, this is very subtle in its one take, and it's very effective. Very effective. And I mean, that's
thanks.
That's just a testament to you, I did that do multiple takes? I'm just curious. That particular scene, did you guys have to do multiple takes?
I don't remember. We may have. I think we probably did, but I feel like he nailed it on one or two. But I will say this. I took a very hang back approach to the majority of the film, because, all right, everybody get on your kind of esoteric kind of, artist, put your artist hat on. But, I took a very backseat approach to a lot of it, where it was, I wanted to just observe, like a ghost might. I wanted it to be a very kind of, I'm just here in the moment, I'm seeing it, and we're viewing it, Hitchcockian, like you said. But there were those times I needed to break out of that, because we needed to say something. The camera had to become a character at points. It had to reflect what a character was feeling and emoting and dealing with. So when Jack storms out of the house and gets in the car and then goes back into the house, it couldn't be a simple nope, I'm going back in, and cut to him walking back into the house. it had to be the inner turmoil of like, fuck this. This